Hey everybody, and welcome to the Hilltop Sports Report, episode 15. My name is Jumpin Jack Carlson, your host, and we've got a very special guest, Gabriel Smith of Cornell Rams Men's Wrestling, on this episode of the podcast. Without further ado, let's hit the music and start the show.
Let's go Rams! Let's go Rams!
For this episode, we're back inside the Academic Technology Studio. We've been a bit nomadic so far this year, just kind of bouncing around campus, but we're back where it all began for episode 15, and Gabriel Smith is my very special guest on this episode of the podcast. Gabriel had a fantastic freshman season on the Hilltop. He was, in fact, named Cornell's first-year Male Athlete of the Year last year. He's entering his sophomore season of wrestling here with the Rams, and very excited to get a season preview of Cornell wrestling here on this podcast. So Gabriel, to begin, thank you so much for taking the time today.
No, thank you so much for having me on. I'm super excited for this thing.
Okay, so Gabriel, last year, what went into that unprecedented success for you? You came in and you were the first year Male Athlete of the Year. What happened?
I got to give a lot of props to my coaching staff who really helped me throughout the year. I did grow a lot throughout that year because of them and how they helped me and took me under their wing. Another reason would be just my teammates pushing me. You know, I had a lot of guys that saw something in me and kind of took me under their wing. Casey Allen's one of them, Corey Stewart's another, and Jacob Scherzer. They were all seniors at the time. So me, a young wrestler who, you know, I obviously have been wrestling for a while, but the college stage is a lot different, whatever division you're in. So yeah, just a freshman who was really just ignorant and didn't really know much and just had that competitive fire and that urge to compete and obviously wanted to win. They saw that in me and they helped me as much as they could. And I think that went a long way into just my freshman year and just the little success I had.
Yeah. Sure. And so let's get into that success a little bit more. So what exactly do you think you did well as a freshman?
I think I scored a lot of points, and I think that was a big thing. I was really aggressive. I'd put it that way, where I was really offensive. I wanted to score points. And yeah, I would just say that competitive fire and that will to win in a way and just push things. Conditioning was a big factor. Yeah, I'd say those few things. And another big thing, which was the biggest, is just not really, as a freshman coming in, I didn't really have many expectations for myself. So it was kind of like, just go out there and fly around and do your thing and whatever happens, happens, and that's kind of what my mindset was the whole year until towards the end. And yeah.
So towards the end, there were some things that you wanted to get better at, right? There are some things always athletes are looking to get better and things like that. So what were some things as a freshman that you'd like to improve on going into sophomore year?
Definitely my mindset. My mindset was a big thing that held me back, especially before regionals. I think, like I said, I was kind of just letting it fly up until, the pressure kind of hit where it's like, okay, now it's regionals. Now you need top 3 to get to nationals, So I think that is a big thing, just my mindset. And I've been working with my coaching staff a lot on that too. I think my mindset needs to change. There's a lot of wrestling stuff that I've been working on. I've obviously watched my tape from last year and stuff like that and been studying the sport. So obviously there's skill stuff that's related to that. But yeah, I'd say big thing is just mindset. I've changed my diet a lot, which is going to help. Obviously you need to fuel the body the right way. And during some of those competitions, I slacked a little bit there too. So yeah, that too. I'd also say, keeping my weight down was a struggle last year. I was cutting a lot of weight. Yeah, just dieting down the right way, eating the right things, not really eating for taste and for you, instead just eating to fuel your body for the next workout type of thing. And yeah, I think those are the biggest things that I've changed this year. Another thing is my strength circuit has changed a little bit. I've kind of dropped back into more speed oriented lifts instead of super strength type of lifts. Coach Boston, my lifting coach, has helped me with that a lot. So yeah, I think pretty much everything has changed, and I've changed everything, and I think it'll continue to change because, you got to continue to evolve in order to keep getting better at whatever sport you're in. So
that's a great mindset, and that makes me encouraged to see you out there this sophomore year. So into the mindset specifically. So if things aren't going your way out there on the mat, how hard is it to stay locked in, and what are some of the things that you've put in work-wise over the summer to try and address those?
I think a few things that I've been changing up, even just when I'm in live wrestling, is just dropping back down to the basics. Obviously, You know, you can have some fancy stuff here and there, but the basics win wrestling matches, and simplifying the sport is the key to whenever you're having a bad day, just go back to your key technique, slow things down, and just stay calm. If you go out of bounds and the guy got into your legs real deep, and okay, deep breath, you know, keep my hands and head down, you know, move my feet. Simple things like that really, really help. So I just say simplifying it, just not overthinking it, you know, don't overcomplicate things, and always come back to, you know, your why, and always come back to like why it's fun. This is a sport, you know, at the end of the day. So like when you're overthinking it and you're stressing about it, slow things down, know your why, know that you really enjoy doing what you do.
Especially, yes, in those heat of the moment type of things, it's important to get back to the core principles, right? That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so take us back to little Gabriel Smith. So when exactly did you first fall in love with the sport of wrestling, and how has that love for the game evolved into college now?
So I actually started wrestling when I was 9 years old, 8 or 9, I kind of forgot. But my dad got me and my two brothers in it because he wanted us to just get tough, and he wanted it to help with our character, you know. So first off, when I just started, I really didn't know anything about the sport. But once I got into it, I just fell in love with the technical aspect of it, along with just how much it teaches you, you know, how to be disciplined, how to take losses, how to push through tough circumstances like practices and stuff like that. So I kind of just fell in love with it, just the grind, just the struggle of it, you know. And I didn't drop everything. So I played lacrosse a little bit when I was little and stuff like that. But I dropped all the other sports after 8th grade year. I took a loss to a friend at the time that I should have beaten. And that's when I was kind of like, okay, this is stupid. I need to give my all to this kind of. So that's when I really fell in love with the sport. And obviously, I had my older brother pushing me and my younger brother pushing me. So yeah, that's kind of where it all started.
So you were homeschooled, Gabriel, and so that was a different journey for you than, say, the conventional route for other members of this Cornell team. So how did that impact your athletic journey, if at all, being homeschooled? And what did that do to set you up for success here in college?
That's a really good question. So in high school, when I was homeschooled, obviously I didn't take classes inside the school. So I kind of wasn't really a part of everybody per se. I was a part of them, obviously, with the sport. We were teammates and stuff, but I wasn't, attached to them academically as well. So I think the biggest thing that's different with college and my high school as far as wrestling is I could also relate to my teammates academically. Obviously, Cornell's a small college, so I do take a lot of classes with my teammates. And I think a big thing that really helps me with that is I actually get closer with them, because it's not just about wrestling. Also, we're also, trying to do well academically. Actually, Block 2, I had a stats class, and I was with Dawson Jajong. He's one of our 74-pounders, and we got really close, obviously, because we're working hard academically and then working hard towards the late night, and then we got a morning practice early at 6 a.m., so we're both kind of suffering together. So I think that's a really big, important thing, having that relate academics and athletics.
That's really good. And so when you were in high school, there was a moment where you first heard from Coach Ham and this Rams coaching staff. So take us inside the recruitment process. What was that like for you, and what ultimately sold you on the Hilltop?
Yeah, so I actually didn't know I wanted to wrestle in college until I was almost done with my senior year, and I told my dad, I was like, Dad, I really want to wrestle in college. And he was like, okay, well, let's get you on some recruiting places, talk to some coaches. So yeah, I reached out to some coaches, and some coaches were reaching out to me throughout my senior year. And yeah, I went on a few visits, and the one at the Hilltop, man, I'll tell you right now, not only is Iowa the mecca of wrestling, which really attracted me here, I also really love the block plan. I thought it was really unique style of learning. And actually, since I'm a homeschooled student, I can relate because I've done some of that throughout my academic career. So yeah, I'd say that. But the most important thing was the coaching staff here. Obviously, one of our assistant coaches is Matt McDonough. He's a brilliant man and a wizard of the sport. He's accomplished so much in the sport. He's actually a 2-time D1 national champ and D1 national finalist. So he's very good. That attracted me a lot. But when I got to meet Coach Ham and Coach Happel on a personal level, it really attracted me to them, because Coach Ham especially showed me that he doesn't just care about his athletes, like how they do athletically. He also cares about them on a personal level, and actually even just with believing yourself and stuff like that, and dealing with hardships in the sports, setbacks, even if you're just dealing with something hard in life, he's there for you, and he shows that he's there for you, and he shows that he cares. I think that was the biggest thing that attracted me to Cornell, was Coach Ham not only recruiting me, but showing me how much he cared. He'd always follow up with text messages or calls. And when I got here, he just showed me, and he proved it, because he has done that a lot. Even when I dropped matches at regionals, and obviously I was pretty devastated, I was crying, he was telling me, you're still my guy. You're always going to be my guy. He was just keeping me up. Because, when you lose like that, especially when you work pretty hard, you're hurt, and yeah, just him knowing his athletes, man, and caring about his athletes, not just with them and what their achievements are, but also them on a personal level and how they are in life.
That's really powerful, and thank you so much for sharing that story of Coach Ham, and that's great that he's here for everybody on the team. So let's take us off script just for a second. So there was a moment you help out as a work-study student at all sorts of different athletic events. One that stands out to me was a softball game last year where you and Coach Ham ended up being on the call. So how exactly did that go, being on the live stream, announcing the Rams softball game from the press box with your coach?
Man, that was one of the hardest things I've ever done here, man. It was fun, but it was definitely challenging because I've never announced a softball game. I didn't know anything about like the scoring or how to announce it. So yeah, that we didn't have an announcer for the game. One of the guys was like, "Hey, you want to hop on and try to announce?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" You know me, I'm a kind of a daredevil type of person. So I was like, "Why not? Screw it, I'll do my best." I was losing it on there. I did not know what to do, what to say. It was terrible. I feel bad for whoever was watching because I was useless, worse than useless. So Coach Ham, he was an ump and stuff, so he knew a lot of stuff. So he hopped on in to help me, and yeah, that was really fun, but it was hard, and it was kind of embarrassing at the time because, like, man, I didn't know what I was doing, but yeah.
Hey, you'll always be a member of the Pressbox Pal crew, right?
So, yeah, I'll stick to the music.
Okay, you're an elite level music. If any of you have been to Cornell volleyball games so far this year, Gabriel Smith, he's the guy on the music. He's the guy getting everybody fired up, and the Rams have done quite well at home so far this year. I would argue that Gabriel Smith has played a huge role in that. That's just Jumpin Jack's opinion.
I didn't make the playlist, but I hope so. That's awesome.
All right, so Gabriel, pushing this ahead for the upcoming season. First duel of the season is this Thursday at home against Simpson. What is the vibe on the team this year?
Man, I think all of our guys are just excited. I think the word for it is just excitement. It's been a long time coming. We have obviously a young team, and last year at regionals, we had our senior kind of open the gate. He qualified for nationals and kind of proved that, hey, guys, you can do this. So a lot of us stayed during the summer and trained really hard and worked, and now it's time to just go out there and have some fun and let it fly. And I think we're all super excited and ready to show people, man, we're ready to jump levels here, and we have the team to do it. We have the coaching staff, we have the guys, and we want to win. So, yeah.
That should be really good. We're very excited here from the Hilltop Sports Report to follow you this season. So any final thoughts before we say sayonara on this episode that you'd like to share with our podcast audience?
Nothing much. Just thanks again for having me. Hopefully I can do it again sometime soon throughout the season. Yeah, you're an awesome host. Shout out to Jack. You're the man.
All right, so best of luck to Gabriel Smith and the Rams this Thursday in their first duel of the season against Simpson. Go Rams, Gabriel.
Roll Rams.
All right. My name is Jumpin Jack Carlson. Thanking you so much for tuning in to this episode of the podcast. As always, make sure to follow the Cornell Rams social media platforms for updates as to when episode 16 of the podcast will be dropped. Most likely will be happening in the upcoming week. All right. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time.